In this video I want to have a look at smart objects and some of their uses. And as you can see here, smart objects preserve an image's source content with all its original characteristics, enabling non-destructive editing. And really that is the key right there, non-destructive editing. That's the big thing with smart objects. So we're going to have a look at transforming without losing quality, use filters non-destructively, swap content, which is very useful, and edit that content. So first off, let's have a look at non-destructive editing. So this is just a normal image, not a smart object. So we'll just use some guides to establish the size when we transform it. So I'm going Command T to select the transform controls, hold down the Shift key and take it down quite small, hit the Enter key to accept that, Command T once again to get the transform controls and take it back to its original size, hit Enter, and as you can see we have a very blurry image. So we'll turn that off, and of course what we need to remember is that that was very dramatic, going that small and back to the original size. But even if we do it a small amount, if we do it many times, if we do some rotation, all these things will add up and we will lose quality of that source image. So this one we're going to turn into a smart object, and I'm just going to click on here and convert to smart object, and then it's outside my screen capture and I can't move this box here, this dialog, so you have to trust me that if we click on here it converts it to a smart object. And if we look in the bottom right corner, we'll see a little square in the bottom of the thumbnail which indicates that it is a smart object. So I'm going to Command T to select that, get the transform controls, and now you can also see that it's got this cross across here, once again indicating it is a smart object. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key and take this down real small, hit Enter to accept it, Command T, and let's take it back to its original size and hit the Enter key, and we can see that we haven't lost any quality. So if we turn this one off and turn this one on, that's the loss of quality we got there. No loss of quality here. So turn that off and we'll go to the next one. And what I want to do is use some filters on here, or smart filters. So I'm going up to filter and convert for smart filters. And although it's called smart filters, really all it is a smart object anyway. We could convert it the way we converted the other one, exactly the same thing. So let's go up to filters and we can choose any of these. Well, we'll go with Smart Sharpen, pretty common one. We'll just accept these. What we've got here as far as settings, and now we can see that if we look where our smart filter is here, we have a layer mask, so we can mask areas out that we've sharpened. If we don't want the edges sharpened, we could mask that out. We could turn it off completely, And also, if we click on this little double arrows over here, we can bring up blending options, and we can also change the opacity here if we need. So for our sharpening thing, we'd probably change it to luminosity blend mode. Click OK, and like I said, it is totally non-destructive. Now we're going to use Smart Objects to swap out an image. So I'm going up to File, down to Place Embedded. This opens up where I've got a couple of files, and we could have as many as we want because we can keep swapping them out as long as we want. So I'm going to choose the first one and just move this in a little more, and we can see in the bottom corner, right corner, it says Place. And it says Place because it is a smart object. So click that, and as you can see, it's bordered in and it's got the X across there, indicating once again that it is a smart object. So I'm going to transform it quickly to fit the iPad that I have here. So Command T, and I'm going to hold down the Command key so that I can adjust it into the perspective of the iPad. And we'll just hit the check mark up the top here to accept that. Now it's not a perfect fit, but it's good enough for the demonstration. So now we have it in there. I decide I don't like that picture, or I want to swap it out for whatever reason. I just go to this layer here, which is a smart object, and we can see the little icon in the bottom of the thumbnail there that it's a smart object. So I'm just going to right click on there and go down to Replace Contents. So click on there. It brings up the folder with my files in, and I'm going to replace it with this Husky Doc. Click on there. Once again, go to Place. And simple as that, it switches it out to whatever image you bring in. Now to edit this image, if we hit B for the brush tool, we can see the brush is selected in our panel here on the left side, and you can see that I can't use the brush, and we get this little dialog box. So it's a smart object, so the only way we can actually edit it right here is if we rasterize it, and obviously we don't want to do that. So we'll cancel out of that, and we have a panel here where it says Edit Contents, or we can right click on it and come down to the list here, Edit Contents, and it brings up the image here, and got my brush, and we'll just paint on there, and we can close that down. Brings up a dialog box, and if we just save that, maybe bump the quality up a little bit and click OK, as you can see now that it is added to that image. Now there are obviously other things that we can do, so let me back out of there and let's re-edit this. So we can use this one, edit the contents, and maybe I'll use put some text on there. So we get the text tool, and we'll accept that text. Get my move tool, just place it at the bottom here somewhere. And so now what we want to do is save it. We're probably going to have to save it as a Photoshop document. Let's bring this in here and save it, and we're going to have to save it as a Photoshop document, PSD. So I'm going to save that, and of course nothing happens. But what I'm going to have to do is replace the contents. So I'm just going to go here and replace contents, and got to make sure I find my right dog one there. And as you can see, it comes in, and it even comes in as in its right perspective. So it's a little more involved, but once you get familiar with it, it's really not that difficult, and still is a time saver, big time saver.